Baby Monster, that's what we're gonna talk about today. A group under YG, a bunch of adorable cuties, if you've seen them before. And by the way, do you know that Baby Monster actually, they got sued by Monster for the name, and they won, as they should. But today we're gonna talk about how they come to be, how they were created, what magical potions YG had to use to create such a monster of a group, because they're really talented. And we're gonna look at a show that kind of mapped their journey to their debut, and I'm excited to see that because the debut was so long expected, and then there was a lot of mixed reactions to the debut because we've got so hyped for them to be so strong vocally, and then we did not get a vocal debut whatsoever. But you know, YG has a formula. It's one of the most famous thing about YG is their formula. But maybe one shoe does not fit all, especially when you have such a strong group like a Baby Monster. But let's get started. So right at the intro, what really is interesting about Baby Monster is that the whole show kind of portrays it as they're supposed to be the next Blackpink, but I think Baby Monster on their own have quite a lot of charisma and have a lot of potential to be more than just successors or the next Blackpink, right? Everybody wants to get the level of success that Blackpink actually achieved. Of course, if we would want to talk about level of success, everybody would love to see, you know, Baby Monster succeed the same way as Blackpink. But also at the same time, we have to understand two things. Why I would generally love to see Baby Monster forge their own way without having constantly that shade of Blackpink over them, right? First thing is that Blackpink was phenomena that could flourish at the time and at that exact era. It was an era where the K-pop was just being like introduced for the rest of the world. There were K-pop fans all over the world for sure, but general public did not know much about K-pop yet. And just as BTS, Blackpink really exploded when they got into commercial sphere that was more international. They started to play in the radios all around the world. It was a really empty space at that time, and Blackpink were four incredible performers that had such a high standard, and they just really seized the whole industry. And honestly, trying to recreate the same thing now, when the world knows more about K-pop, the world knows more K-pop groups, that the market is almost, let's say, oversaturated, pretty heavily oversaturated. So it's not just one or two groups that people know. People tend to know many more groups. So right now, being just part of the K-pop is not gonna kind of introduce you into the same success that Blackpink probably had. Second thing that's been debated for so long right now is the typical YG formula. Does it still work? It's been applied time and time again on so many artists, and specifically it was incredibly successful with Blackpink. It was so successful that the YG formula is literally legendary. So when people talk about it, everybody instantly knows what they mean. Now, can we apply it on Baby Monster, have the same success, especially when the last Blackpink comeback was so heavily criticized for sounding very similar to everything that they had before? Therefore, a lot of people started to already doubt the YG formula with Blackpink. So if we apply it on Baby Monster, is it gonna have the same success? We're gonna see, but those are definitely two questions that are so important to consider when we talk about Baby Monster and their future success. So Jennie and Lisa were very heavily included in the last evaluation process, which I'm happy because they had a lot of good insights and a lot of good commentary, which kind of really correlates with what a lot of people are currently thinking about the formula, about Baby Monster, about the whole YG approach. So I'm excited to see that. First, we're gonna though start with the legendary song Gone from Rose. I was not really surprised when they chose Rose, and especially Gone, because it's a very stripped down song. If you want to test someone's capabilities and just not only as a singer but as a performer, to give them such a stripped down song where there's nothing to hide behind is a real challenge. It has a very slow pace. It does not really have massive build-up. There's a very simple instrumental. Everything will be centered to the singer, and not just as a singer, but a persona. So the charisma needs to be there. The technique needs to be there. There are a couple of really difficult passages. Without that, you're going to fall flat. So let's see how they're going to do. So the part where you have that squeaky little sound, "Oh, my love is gone," is pretty tricky. What Farida is struggling with here is that you see how I sing, I'm not switching into my head voice on the top tone. That loses the power of that part. So again, this kind of squeaky kind of climb down is pretty difficult, not just because of the technique, but because you have to go with your full register. You have to go with your full voice. You cannot switch into your head voice because it would lose the power. It would lose the sauce. But on the other side, you have to make it sound good. It cannot sound like you're cleaning a window, which girls were making fun out of. So you have to dress it nicely. You have to present it nicely. That's why this song particularly, it's so hard, because there are a lot of parts where if you do them too choppy or you do them just too loud, too much, you do not dress it nicely, you do not kind of put a tiny little bow on top of that, it's gonna sound, it's not gonna just fit very well. So this is the part where when you go with a head voice, it's gonna be too weak. If you're gonna put too much, you don't want that either. So you have to get a precise level that's gonna still sound good, but you're gonna do it with your natural voice.
We thought maybe, what if we change the part? What if we change the part? Instead of like, Ion takes all of those, and then you have to do
All your love is gone, now you're dead and gone. 그 파트만.
Yeah. Because you would have to do this live, and I kind of worry about that, like, because it's so important for you. Like, you could practice it.
With Farida, very young singers do tend to get really, really, really disappointed when you get a different part. You can look at her and you can see that she's a little disappointed, which is understandable. But at the same time, with experience comes also that one little knowledge, and that is that you should be happy if you get a part that fits. You never want to go and sing the part that you are uncomfortable with, or you are unsure, you didn't have your confidence up. You want to be at least on like 90%, 85% in a training field, because during the performance, you're going to get stressed and you are going to get all over the place. And one thing that you don't want is trauma from a really bad performance that will carry with you for a very long time. So usually you do still want to challenge yourself, but you don't want to go on the battlefield on that stage when you are not comfortable with a part and you're just losing your confidence, because if you're not going to do well, that's going to actually kick your confidence to the curb.
And get it to a point, but you don't have
so
that
this
much
is a good
time.
decision for her.
딱 그 순간은 너무 아쉬웠어요.
There's going to be a little change in the hook part. Actually, what's going to happen is that, you know, that part, you're just going to become, you're going to be the sole owner of that part. Ion, you're just...
Well, I heard her sing it just pretending to wash the window. Ion has a very natural understanding of her voice. She has quite a lot of talent. She has a lot of intuition. So one thing, you have kind of like two types of singers. You have very intuitive singers that some people call it also talent. So you have the natural intuition around your voice. You have good agility. You are in control of your voice, but very naturally, right? So you have quite a lot of talent. And then you have people who have to work double as hard because they do not have that gift of like really getting a natural intuition, natural like hyper talent about your voice, and they have to work through blood, sweat, and tears, through every single technique, through every single part of their voice, get in control. But on the other hand, I have to say, those people sometimes end up better than the natural talents because they work so hard, because they're used to work so hard for it.
It's gonna take that first three lines, and then Parita's gonna take the fourth line. Yeah, that's the part change. Yeah. Yeah.
파이팅! 파이팅!
Okay, we're gonna perform in front of Jenny.
I see you changing on, but that's why you don't get my calls. If you wanna me, no, you don't wanna be involved. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Gone, gone. All my love is gone. Now you're dead and gone.
So a lot of people mentioned this kind of like a little modulation that they do. Now you're dead and gone, gone. There's a little bit of a modulation that they do, but they all do that, like across the whole Baby Monster. So I think that's something what YG prefers. If you notice, recently is kind of a little trend. New Jeans had that. Who else? Vicha, I think. It's just like every new girl group kind of have something really signature about their singing style. So some modulation or some signature kind of singing stylization that they do. And I think this particularly YG kind of wanted Baby Monster to have. Now you're dead and gone, gone. A little bit of a swallowing of the sound. This is a heavy modulation. Personally, I don't mind that modulation. I don't love it either, to be fair. When I see young singers like this, I want them to sound as natural as possible. I don't want to see very heavy modulations because sometimes something that you learn in a very early youth can carry with you for a very long time as a singer, and you do not know how their personal singing styles are going to still develop. But it's something that YG probably wants in the final sound of the whole group, so there's nothing else just to respect that, honestly. We're gonna see what Jenny's gonna say.
일단 제일
overall.
기억에 남았던 친구가 파리타 노래를 너무 이쁘게 잘 하는 것 같아요. 제일 기억에 남았어요.
Farita is consistent. She has very pretty tone quality, which is another tricky part about this song. Rose has a very, very well-known tone quality. It's just very unique. To cover this song and keep the spark in it that Rose brings in with her voice is pretty difficult. Farita has beautiful, interesting tone quality. And when you hear her sing across the verses and the chorus, there's no change in her like heaviness of her effort. It's effortless across the whole thing. It's very nicely leveled. So she's keeping it.
아현. 네. 친구들 중에 제일 끼가 많은 게 보여요. 눈도 잘 쳐다보고 보컬 엄청 늘 것 같아요. 마지막에 랩했던 루카.
With Ion, I completely agree with Jenny. It's something similar to what I said that when it comes to hyper talented people, that's why Jenny said that she thinks she's gonna get really, really better at singing. You have people with the natural talent and natural intuition about the voice. Ahyun strikes me like that quite a lot because she can play around with her voice, not even understanding what she's doing correctly. When she was doing that, like pretending it's like a cleaning sound, it was actually ingenious because that's how a lot of vocal coaches actually teach people to approach their voice, to find a natural sound that you already have. Sometimes you already know how to sing the song, but your brain is blocking you. And some people have this intuition that they just take it and they just adapt it on the sound that they've done before. So that's what Aeon has. But as much as I really do praise talented people, they sometimes need to work double.
랩 잘했는데 래퍼는 일단 1번이 자신감이고 2번이 자신감이고 세 번째가 자신감인 것 같아. 자기가 캐릭터를 담아서 해야 되니까 그런 거 잘 연습하면 좋을 것 같아요.
제가 평가 때 자주 긴장을 많이 하는데 혹시 선배님께서는 무대에 서기 전에 어떤 식으로 긴장 푸는지 여쭤보고 싶어요.
무대를 올라가기 전에 음이 나가면 어떡하지? 막 이런 정말 그런 생각들보다 오늘 저기 있는 사람들 다 내가 놀라게 해야지. 이렇게 저는 항상 다짐을 했거든요. 나도 음정도 나가고 춤도 틀리고 화음도 못 맞추고 막 이랬는데 그냥 그거 하나는 진짜 확실했어요. 난 이걸 할 거야. 블랙핑크가 사실 우리가 노래를 다 4명이 완벽하게 해서 춤을 잘 춰서 이게 아니었던 것 같아. 나는 정확하게 기억나는 거 우리 냈다. 이거 아니면 죽을 거야. 진짜 이 정도로 열심히 했어요. 진짜. 뭐 다른 거 보이지도 않았어. 내가 연습생 때 누군가가
I think she's really, really right about one thing, and that is that Blackpink did not find their success because they were the best dancers or they were the best singers. Blackpink is not a vocal group, and Blackpink is not a dance group either. So one thing that they really are, though, is performers. Like, they're excellent performers. There are only 4 of them, but you get drawn to every single member of Blackpink when they are on the stage. That's, of course, why they also have one of the biggest concert tours from any K-pop group. And overall, people just love their charisma. So at the end of the day, especially with a song like Gone, it's gonna boil down to the charisma and your presentation as well. Singing and dancing, like the basics of that, you're gonna definitely receive that. You have to always work on that. But at the end of the day, when you go on that stage, you have to believe that you are the coolest, the best, the most incredible person on the earth. Because if you don't believe that, nobody else will. You can have your insecurities and you can have your doubts of the stage. When you are on that stage, whether you are performing for your friends, for people, doesn't matter. You have to believe that you are incredible and the best and enchanting and charming and cool. You've got to believe that, because then everyone in the audience will.
이게 압박감이 되게 심했어요. 왜냐면 그 파트가 제일
She is nervous about that part as well. You know, it's challenging for her as well. She's not just nailing it. She has to really polish it. The part has to sound good, and it has to be, again, as I said, very nicely dressed up. So it cannot sound too harsh with that squeak, because it can come out pretty harsh. So one thing about Aeon, why I think they gave the part to her, to what we talked about, the natural talent versus hard work. From my experience, a lot of times people who did not have a lot of natural talent, me including, at the end of the day, I was not born with natural talent. And I can say myself, I genuinely was not. Everything that I have right now is mostly my hard work with my voice. So from my experience, a lot of people that were talented that I knew are not even singing anymore, which is such a pity. So sometimes you have to really push people who have natural talent, because they tend to slack. Everything is a little bit easier for them. So they do everything with so much ease that you have to really put a little bit more load on them for them to feel challenged and for them to really keep on moving forward. So I think that's why they kind of put this part on Ion because they knew that it's still complicated and difficult for her, but they need to push her a little bit further for her to really start to shine and for her to really get her full potential. On the other hand, Farita, beautiful voice, a lot of hard work behind her. You can tell that she has like studied a lot of her technique. She is very, very, very hardworking. But on the other hand, if they would put this load on her, it could really harm her confidence. So I think the switching of the parts was really good. Good decision because it benefits both of them. Okay, let's watch it then. This is a tough audience if you look at it. All of them are legends in their own right.
I thought they remember, but it seems they forgot. It's all for me to be me when you already lost. Oh yeah, I'm sort of always running. Oh yeah. I say you change your number, that's why you don't get my calls. Gave you all of me, now you don't wanna be involved. Oh yeah. I really gotta face it. Oh yeah.
Farita has gorgeous voice, so nicely leveled. I don't know if it feels like Ion has a little bit of an issues with breathing when she's under the stress, because when I heard her sing this in recording, like in the rehearsal room, she was perfectly fine. But here you can hear that she has a little bit of a troubles to work with air. At the end of the phrases, she's literally running out of it. Sometimes that happens to very young performers when they're very stressed, like your breath is very shallow. It looks like Ion has an issue with that. But Farita, beautifully leveled, and her tone quality is just very nicely paced across every single register that she has, so it's really nice.
You're already done. Tell me what you have to do me now. I'm all alone crying ugly. You broke my heart just for fun. Took my love and just left me numb. Now it's 8 in the morning, 8 in the morning, all because of you. Another story that's sad and true. I can feel the pain in you. You had to be the one to let me down, to call me blue. Hate to see you with someone new. I put a curse note at you. Ain't no looking back now, you're dead and gone. My love is gone too.
She's running out of air quite a lot. It's sad and true. And quite a lot of air dumping, but it looks like it's more from stress. When you see this kind of fast, kind of almost hiccupy breath, it's usually from the stress. If you look at how Farita is pacing her breathing, it's so just calm, really leveled and non-stressed. If you compare it to Aheon, that's where you see how stressful breathing sometimes looks like when you have a stressed singer. It's perfectly understandable. This is a big evaluation. But what is really interesting is that I really think she's going to pull it for the higher tones, because the shallow breathing is more of an issue in a lower register, and this is quite low.
Oh, my love is gone.
Yeah, she pulled it together.
Oh, my love is gone. Oh, my love is gone.
So she's only getting the at the very end of the phrase. So the upper tones, perfect. The slide was beautiful. It is nicely leveled. It's not too loud. It's not too obnoxious. It sounds very, very, very pretty. And only at the very end, which can still be the stress residue, but the slide, so pretty.
My love is gone. Now you're dead and gone.
Yeah, you never know what you got until it flies away. Whole fake skirts open in my darkest days. Searching for somebody, guess my wrong and pressing do. But I'm lost inside your world, then it's color blue. Giving you all, like everything in my take off it's all for you. Looking at all of the different, they want the petty, I play the fool. Say that comes and it goes. Time is all of the woes. Pain nobody knows. Just know I'ma let go. I just want.
This is like the worst nightmare for every rapper, this type of a song. Super empty, nothing you can cling on in an instrumental. The instrumental is so bare. There's no beat. So this is so stripped down. So for the rapper, this is a massive challenge. Also, on the other hand, you cannot go completely crazy because this is not the type of song where you can get all animated and fun and just quirky. So very difficult challenge. I think she handled it well. Like the rap was good and it did not lose my attention, which a lot of times when you have a song where there's a rap part and the rap part is falling flat, you kind of like, completely losing attention before the singing comes back in. And she was really good. I like her. Again, nightmare for a rapper to have a song like this.
Be the one, but to you already done. Tell me why'd you have to hit and run me now? I'm all alone crying ugly. You broke my heart just for fun. Took my love and just left me numb. Now it's 8 in the morning, 8 in the morning.
All because of you.
Another story that's sad and true. I can feel the pain, can't you?
She has such beautiful expressions too. Like, oh my God. I absolutely love her, by the way. She is probably my favorite when it comes to her charisma. Wow. Like you look at her eyes and her facial expression is it's really, really good.
I can feel the pain, can't you? You had a better wanna let me down to call it me.
Don't die off, baby. Okay, so the difference here, you can see when Farita sang it, nicely leveled. With a song like this, you don't want to die off. It's really difficult with the dynamics because you don't want to lose people's interests, but at the same time, you have nothing, no build up, no actual climax to the song. So you have to like kind of, you know, redistribute your power, redistribute your energy, which can be pretty difficult. And she was dying off towards the end of the phrase. Na 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 na. You can slow down, you can reduce your dynamics, but you don't want to die off. You do not want to have too big of a fluctuation in dynamics in a song like this. And on the other hand, not too little as well. It's a difficult balance. Keep it up. She withdrawn a little too much. You can see that the energy just kind of declined very fast.
Hate to see you with someone new. I'll put a curse on her and you. Ain't no looking back now, you're dead and gone. My love is gone too.
Farita kept it really nicely leveled. That's kind of a equilibrium that you want to find. She still gave a little bit of energy. That was energetic, but love is gone, my love is gone too. She finished it without the energy literally dying off.
All my love is gone.
She's so good with that phrase.
All my love is gone. All my love is gone.
Ooh, beautiful.
All my love is gone. Now you're dead and gone.
So good. Damn. You can also tell that this was very heavily rehearsed. Like it was rehearsed, okay? Like everybody was very almost over prepared, very ready for this. And the girls did absolutely fantastic. This is live singing. This is live singing. I don't think there's no post-production on it. I would be quite, maybe a little bit of the reverb or something like that, but very nicely done for a live performance and for definitely such a hard song like that. The two main singers are really impressing me quite a lot.
많아서 노래하기 전에 불안했던 곡이에요. 예.
아 저는 특별히 파리타 양 얘기를 하고 싶은데 오늘 노래를 딱 약간 레이지하게 딱 부르는 게 소름이 돋았어요. 저 진짜 딱 조이부터
Yeah.
너무나
Farita did
목소리가 너무나
so well.
좋아가지고
전 가장 좋았던 거는 표정이나 액팅들이 너무 좋았어요. 그 음악에 빠져들어서 즐겁게 행복해 보이게 부르고 있는 모습.
오늘 아연이를 정말 좋게 봤어요.
음.
오히려 제가 아연이의 이미지를 느꼈던 거는 욕심 많은 친구구나 였거든요. 이번에는 단체 노래인데 과연 이 친구가 욕심을 뺄 수 있을까? 라는 게 저의 약간 걱정이었어요.
This is super important at the end of the day because if you are not a team player, at the end of the day, they are not trying to find the soloist. They are finding a group. So it is really, really, really important for everyone to be the team player. Very often I hear people who are like, oh, well, that voice is not important in the group. She can be cut out. We don't need this one. And they're usually directing this at supporting voices. And that's why when I react to certain bands, I do like to praise supporting voices separately. And I do like to highlight them because without them, the whole thing, the whole kind of sound would not come together the way it should. So it's good to have a strong singer that knows what they want. They are very ambitious, but at the end of the day, if they're part of the group, they need to be a group player.
근데 오늘 친구들을 깔아주는 화음을 들으면서 되게 이 친구는 그룹으로서의 그릇이 되는 친구겠구나 라는 생각이 들어서 아연이를 되게
I think Ion and Farita are just great match.
마지막으로 다시 한번 박수 한번 쳐줄까요?
They support each other very well.
애들 왜 라이브 pit이 너무 좋은데요?
It's very stable. No.
Stable is a good word, especially when it comes to Farita. Stability for her is absolutely a highlight of her singing. Her tonal quality and her stability. It's something that's going to carry her for a very long time. But at the same time, those two things, her stability, her breath management, and her tonal quality, not the tonal quality, but her stability and breath management is definitely a result of a lot of hard work. So you can see the Farita really invested so much into this. Ion, beautiful, natural quality, very, very massive talent. So a lot of backlog of what she still can do. So I think that she has such a massive playing field in front of her to still discover, and she can do incredible things. So I'm excited about her as well. I think two of them are going to be great together because I think they bring out the best out of each other, which is really important, especially in a group like this. Second song that I chose was Stay from Blackpink. I actually have to say that I'm pretty impressed in two things. I like how they said, you know what, we're gonna make sure that we're gonna portray Blackpink in this show in the full scoop of Blackpink, because when we think Blackpink, we do think about heavier beats and just the typical Blackpink sound, but they chose songs that are like almost another kind of face of Blackpink, more softer, more instrumental. And Stay, when he was talking about like the reason why he chose it, I understood it. First of all, very bare songs where every mistake shows immediately, so they're definitely giving them massive challenge with them. But at the other side, also working on an image of Blackpink in this show as well, which is, hey, Blackpink is not just about the heavy beat, it's not just about the trumpets and everything, it's also about the softer side. It's also like they have also this and they have also that. So I think that YG did a really good job kind of mashing these two things together. I really like the representation. I really like the hidden representation. I appreciate that. It's not a bad idea.
한국에 온 지 얼마 안 됐기도 하고
I will always remember.
아무래도 계속 영어 노래만 해왔어서 한국어 노래를 했을 때 좀 어려움이 있겠다라는 생각을 했어요.
일단 가사를 치키한테 다들 understand 시켜줘야 될 것 같아. 살짝 그런 거. 살짝 bittersweet. 네? bittersweet.
아,
씁쓸해. 네. 쓰리사.
너무 밉지만 사랑해. 나 사랑이 알죠?
알아요.
근데
안 돼. 믿는
너무 like
미워, hate.
little bit hate.
Un poco hate.
아니 약간
Just a little hate, you know?
Got it. 네, I got it. Yeah,
근데
This is sweet. I mean, understanding the lyrics is pretty important for the emotional delivery at the end of the day. Oh, their mentor is my favorite lady.
그러면은 스테이를 불러보자.
Oh my god. I love Lee so much.
툭하면 거짓말처럼 내 맘에 상처를 내어놓고 미안하단 말 한마디 없이도 나 혼자 위로하고 네 향기는 달콤한 felony 너무 밉지만 사랑해
Very nice. That was a really pretty belt, actually. Nicely supported.
사랑해
Nice.
뭐 더 궁금한 거 없어? 이런 곡을 부를 때 저희가 아직 이별이나 사랑이나 그런 걸 한 번도 못 해봤으니까
It's a good question.
좀
확실해?
합니다. 오케이. 그래서 그런 감정들 뭐 어떻게 해야 더 잘 끌어낼 수 있는지.
내가 어떻게 이별까지 사랑하겠어 널 사랑하는 거지를 부를 때 내가
Oh, I love
머릿속에
that song.
나만의 영화를 만들었지. 남자 주인공이 있고 그리고 매번 노래를 시작하기 전에 그 사람과 헤어지고 몰입을 하고 그러고 부르는 거지. 10대가 20대의 감정을 낼 수가 없고 20대가 30대의 감정을 낼 수 없고 그거는 이제 흉내지. 듣는 사람들도 그걸 원하지 않아. 그러니까 내가 할 수 있는 선에서의 감정을 최대한
I mean, that's always the best result if you can embody the emotion. Sometimes transferred emotion, very often I tell my students that, listen, it doesn't have to be the sadness that is portrayed in a song. Like if you just need melancholy, you can think about any really difficult time in your life and transfer that out. It doesn't have to be in the precise context. So exactly like these girls, like they haven't experienced the heartbreak, but they experience melancholy, they experience sadness. So putting that into the context of the song is still gonna work very well because it's still gonna translate to people.
으로 불러내면 되는 거고 너희들은 충분히 할 수 있을 것 같아.
감사합니다.
Okay, let's see what Jenny is gonna think.
당연하게 생각하는 너지만 그게 너다워 그래도 stay with me.
Stay with me. And that impact, stay. And she's doing an attack on the tone. Stay with me. So nicely done. It's a very simple approach to that tone, but it's so functional and so
Looking back, feel the back, I pay a return. Every day feeling the pain, driving me crazy insane. 그저 내 곁에 stay with me.
good. I'm excited to hear.
너무 귀여워. 진짜 보는 내내 그냥 사람을 되게 이렇게 기분 좋게 해주는 그런 에너지가 있어서 진짜 너무 잘 봤어요. 그리고 랩 너무 잘 했어요. 톤도 너무 좋고 자신감도 있고 걸어 나오면서 아이 컨택도 잘하고 실제로 보고 가장 매력 있다고 느꼈어요.
너무 좋았어요.
치키타.
Eye contact, a difficult one, but if you can keep it and not with a single person, but you find your 3 points, usually in the bigger stage you have 3 points that you kind of fluctuate between, so you keep your composure, but you still kind of translate out to the people.
아니 믿기 힘들 정도로 진짜 너무 잘하는 것 같아. 하람 노래 너무 네, 아까 듣는데 진짜 너무 잘했어요. 근데 잘했어요 이러고 근데 너무 잘했는데 오늘 이 무대를 제가 보러 온 거니까 저를 위한 공연이라고 생각을 한 친구가 있어요. 오늘 공연하면서 내가 노래를 잘할까 춤을 틀릴까 말고 딱 자기 파트 때 되게 거울 보면서 하는 친구들 많았잖아요.
Very often when I give my students the best advice for the performing and for singing overall, if you want to translate out to the audience, you cannot sing for yourself. Don't sing for yourself. When you're training, when you're doing exercises, sure, but at the end of the day, you don't want to sing for yourself. You want to sing out. So think about almost not singing in a first person and you're a tiny little bubble, but think about being almost behind yourself in a third person and you are translating out. So this is the common mistake. People who are very heavily overthinkers and just hyper focus on everything and just want to have everything perfect, they do tend to sing for themselves. Sing for someone else. Whoever. Even imaginary.
근데 여기는 연습실에서 하는 거지만 연습을 하는 게 아니었잖아요. 내가 무대를 보러 온 거였으니까 내가 진짜 이 사람한테 진짜로 전달하는 느낌처럼 부르지 않으면 아무리 노래를 잘해도 내가 감동을 못 받으니까 그게 너무 아쉬웠거든요. 정말 실전에서 그렇게 하면 다른 사람으로 눈이 돌아가요. 왜냐면 나한테 집중을 안 해주니까 노래하는 사람이. 그것부터 알아야 돼. 내 오디언스가 누군가. 이 사람을 어떻게 내가 이 노래로 즐겁게 해줄 건가. 그런 생각을 꼭 해야 돼요.
At the end of the day, it's the audience that you're singing for, but having singing only for yourself gives you so much stress and just puts you in a certain zone that you cannot get out of. Like when you're training, sure, zone in, be in your little bubble. When you're performing, you've got to get out because you have to allow your body to do what you taught it to do. You have muscle memory for the song. If you trained it well, the muscle memory is there. You have to let go a little bit so the sound, the energy, the emotions can translate out. It's a really important part. Okay, let's go.
거짓말처럼 내 맘에 상처를 내어놓고 미안하단 말 한마디 없이 또 나 혼자 위로하고 오늘 하루도 혹시나 떠날까 늘 불안해해 I just want you to stay.
Actually, very nice pronunciation in English as well. Stay. So very often you hear people very close and kind of flexed in their pronunciation, and that is not allowing any energy, any tone getting out. She has also a tiny bit of a fry there. Very nice openers.
날 당연하게 생각하는 너지만 그게 너다워 그래도 stay with me.
I love this part. Stay. She's going from a little bit of a restriction. Stay with. I have very tired vocal cords, so for me it sounds like I'm just abusing them, which I am right now because they're overworked, but I love how she's doing it. She's going from a little bit of a restriction and releasing the energy immediately after that. It's nice. He liked it too. That little belt is very nice. She was keeping a very solid air support there. It's not too much of a high belt, so it's in a comfortable area. I like the layering. I like Harem's lower register tone quality. Turn and turn, reminds me of Havasa a little bit. Havasa is very similar, like a lower kind of husky tone. I like her.
It goes a little something like na 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 na. 지금 당장 많은 걸 바라는 게 아니야. 그저 내 곁에 stay with me. The fire still burns as the world turns. Looking back to fade the black, I pray a return. Every day feeling the pain, driving me crazy, insane. Can't get you out of my brain. Seems like you float on my 시간을 붙잡은 채 그대로 있어줄래?
I like her.
네 모습 내 맘에 전도 담은 수북해. 거짓말 같은 세상 so cute and truth. This you, this a letter from me to you. 널 닮은
She nailed that. That, again, very often in empty songs like this, these are quite of a nightmare for a rapper because you have not a lot to work with, even though this has a little bit of a beat behind it. But still, she did so well, and with the pronunciation and with just the flow of it, that was perfect. And it seemed that it didn't stress her out, which I know it probably did stress her out, but she didn't let us see that. And that's great because especially for the rappers, the charisma, the confidence is half of the success, if not more. But she did not let us see her sweats. And that is a big thing for sure. I like the vocal cries. She's in a very of a smiler quality. She's right there in the placement. So she has a little bit of a nasal tone quality when she's singing in her frontal placement. If she's going to release it a tiny bit lower, she's going to get rid of that very heavy nasality. Let's keep that placement and just release it. I kept the placement, it's still leaning forward, so there's a residual nasality, but I opened the resonance a little bit more. If she's gonna do that, her tone is gonna be so full and resonant, but the placement is good. A lot of people use that placement, but then do not work with it further from there. That was spacious, that was really nice. That's where she developed that into further resonance. Chiquita has such a vibe to her. She's adorable. Good reconnection. So she went into the head voice. She reconnected in a very right moment as well. That was a good moment to reconnect. I like her. She's adorable. She has so much charisma in her.
아쉬웠어요. 저는 중간 평가를 받잖아요. 되게 좋은 에너지를 많이 받고 너무 잘.
We're getting a lot of criticism, so let me replay that.
아쉬웠어요. 저는 중간 평가를 받잖아요. 되게 좋은 에너지를 많이 받고 너무 잘했던 기억으로 가득 차서 이렇게만 하면은 진짜 좋은 평가 받을 수 있겠다 했는데 오늘 네 분이 이 무대 위에 서자마자부터 왜 그러지? 피곤하나? 라는 생각을 했어요. 가수는 그러면 안 되잖아요. 어떤 일이 있어도 그 다음 날엔 아무렇지 않게 무대 위에서 노래해야 되는 게 가수인데 근데 오늘 여러분들에 대한 애정이 크기 때문에 더 아쉬웠었던 것 같아요. 네.
Stay라는 곡.
She didn't say anything particularly technical about them. More of it, we were missing quite a lot of energy. I was getting most energy from Chiquita. Like she was giving a little bit of more relaxed, fun, but I can see where probably altogether in the group part. So when they were on the solo kind of like moments in there, I was really impressed by the rapper. Chiquita had energy across the entire thing. I always, when I looked at her, I felt comfortable. But the rest of the girls, I have to say that I do not see how she saw them during the rehearsals. She said during her rehearsals they were doing so much better. So probably the energy was definitely different from the rehearsals.
퍼포밍하기가 굉장히 힘든 곡이에요. 그러니까 무대에서 하기가 되게 힘들어. 근데 제일 아쉽게 느껴졌던 거는 노래적으로는 너무 완벽했으나 모든 포인트가 딱딱 기계처럼 정해져 있었어. 동선들이. 보여지는 퍼포먼스 자체가 너무 딱딱해.
Okay, I see. So they said that their vocals were perfect, but the whole thing felt over-rehearsed and very predictable. I can see.
그래서 그런 느낌들이 사람들에게 좀 즐거움을 주지 못한 게 아닌가라는 생각을 했습니다.
너무 짜여 있는 듯한 느낌이 좀 많이 들어서 그랬었던 것
Too
같아요.
coordinated. Yeah, over-rehearsing can be an issue. Because if you clean up everything too hygienically and you are basically very robotic about your performance, doesn't matter how good technically you are, you're just not translating anything out. So the audience is like, yeah, this is great, but it's just not hitting the sweet spot, which can happen.
More like kind of like for all three of us, when we were helping you guys record this song, it felt more of like a fatherly experience where like my heart was beating for you guys. So it was like hard for me to critique it, but then when I saw your performance, like I fell into believing like that you guys really were about the song. It's just great to see you guys turn it on. Like I like to give a lot of respect and to Chiquita. I think you have that look that kind of draws people in, and you turn that on, and it's something special to see just right in front of it.
I think her star song, everybody did well, but then Chiquita performance with her like 매력? I don't know. That kind of came out today. That was great to see.
다음에 Chiquita definitely killed it. She did so freaking well with this one. It had so much charm. Like you got constantly drawn into her face, her smile, her energy. It felt really good. So those were the group songs from the last evaluation. Next time we're gonna look at solo performances. So we're gonna look precisely into every single member of the Baby Monster. I am super excited about that because we're already seeing so much promise and so much talent and so much potential. So I'm super excited to go. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to subscribe so you are gonna see at the next part. Also put the notification bell on so when I'm gonna upload a part 2 to this series, you're gonna know it immediately. Here is the YouTube video that YouTube actually recommends for you, and here is the rest of my K-pop reactions. Please stay safe and healthy. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.